Yeah, this year when we were starting up, I said to my wife, I was like, we got to get this place some color, some comfort, because coming in here was like being in detention for these kids.
Welcome back, Neophytes. This is Athen Green with ChristianNeophyte.com, helping you learn the faith, grow in Christ, and engage the world around you. And in today's video, we are interviewing Joseph Thornburg, who is the high school youth director at St. Andrew's Orthodox Church in Riverside, California. He also just so happens to be my son Caleb's godfather. Why is it important to have a strong youth program?
Because of course the youth is our future. And to have a strong youth program, investing our time and our love and our effort into the youth ensures some fruit to come out of it in the future. But these are the very people that are going to take up the mantle in these parishes and continue on and bear the faith in the future and in our community. So it's massively important.
What's your favorite part about working with the youth?
In some way, it's being a youth again, right? That's one of the wonderful things about having children is that you now kind of see the world through their eyes and re-experience those things anew. It's nice to reflect and think about the position that I was in as a freshman or a senior in high school, because I only do high school. So that's a bit of the older crowd. It's not as young, but for me, it's not that long ago. So I can very much remember when I was in that position, and think what kind of person would I want in the position I'm in now. I love it because these kids are great. I love doing this because I love the kids, and that's one thing that if anyone's going to do any kind of youth, you need to have a heart for them. And so if I can be that little bit, just a small bit, hopefully that Christ can breathe life into that and really make something out of it. What do I do to prepare kids for the college life? I actually did. I love doing topics. I do little topics, and I did last year a little lecture thing called college, with a question mark. So college and what to expect if I do go to college, because that's one of the things that I also kind of wanted to help them understand. And I just had them sort of take a step back and ask, well, do I need to go to college for what I want to do? I don't want to down talk education, higher education, and I'm certainly my priest wouldn't, but I just don't find it necessary to be in $60,000 in debt for an art degree or some sort of thing that is not going to pay it off. You're not even going to have a profession in, a career in. That's one of the things I encourage them to think about. So that's even before we get into college, right? Now going to college, that's the other thing. That's when we get kind of in the dirty and the muddy waters, is what we are assailed with in college. It's I like to think about the two-pronged sort of challenge that we get. We get the academic sort of challenge to our faith, right? It's always done scientifically, philosophically, challenging us. How do we answer these questions with what this college professor is saying? And then there's the moral struggles, right? The ethical things that we are assailed with so much, the drinking and the rampant sex and then just tomfoolery as it comes in college that could be very damaging to the soul. So there's many ways that we can address both of those poles, but I framed it as that talk in I'm more concerned about that moral issue, of course, the one that can actually do damage to our soul than some of these scientific, philosophical inquiries and questions and challenges or apparent challenges to our faith, I think can be dispelled if we really do some work. And I avail the teens of many resources there are out there that answer those questions, I think, very thoroughly. There's always the challenge that is undergirding all of that. And it's so easy to forget about God in college because you just get caught up and swept off with all these opportunities, great opportunities to grow, to learn, to connect. It's so easy just to forget your prayers. You know, it's easy to forget your prayers when you have an essay due tomorrow morning or a speech, right, at night. You're preparing for it. It's so easy to forget to fast with the cafeteria, with all this good food, right? It's so easy to forget about the major feast days when you have a study session, right? What happens is that falling away and that slowly forgetting about God. And then suddenly this professor starts talking about atheism and some sort of idea. They start to adopt those ideas as a sort of a defense, as a sort of the intellectual reason behind their doubts and their struggle with their faith, when really it's not those scientific or philosophical struggles and reasons that they have for not believing in God, but it's really that moral denigration that they've undertook in college. They've forgotten about God. Oh, you don't believe in God? When's the last time you prayed? When's the last time you've done your prayers and you've fasted and you've gone to confession? Oh, 6 months? And I'm surprised that you don't believe in God. It's not very shocking when you say that. So I don't really take their word for it when it's these real, scholastic reasons, academic reasons they don't believe in God. I think it's really those sort of moral things that we were talking about, the spiritual life, and it's just drained away. Their spiritual life it's anemic, So I hope I answered your question.
Oh yeah, definitely. So your focus isn't so much about that academic defense, but rather keeping that moral stance that'll really kind of get you through all that.
Yeah, I find it very, very important to have answers to those questions, because if a teen comes up to me and asks me about atheism, or asks me about some atheist philosopher or some science teacher saying this, I can't just say, no, that doesn't matter. Here, read this here and just go on your way. Go ahead and read the ladder and all your problems will be, solved. That doesn't, like I said, you have to have some sort of answer. And I think that it's the job of the youth director and the youth teachers and leaders to really know their stuff. What's challenging the teens out there? There's many things challenging us. So we have to know their culture, we have to know their struggles, we have to do our best to have answers to those scientific, academic, philosophical, existential questions, but also we have to have the spiritual experience and the spiritual development in our own selves to be able to show them authentic Christian life, an authentic Christian husband, authentic Christian father. So it is two-pronged, but the most important is the development of the spiritual life, and to be a one who truly loves God and who truly strives after holiness. I don't believe in God because of certain arguments. I don't believe in God because of different philosophical proofs or anything. I think they're helpful. I think they're very helpful for some of the questions that are out there and that plague us sometimes in the night. I'm a Christian because there are saints. I'm a Christian because there can be a Saint Seraphim of Sarav. I'm a Christian because there can be a Saint Silouan or a Elder Joseph the Hesychast. That's why I'm a Christian, because I can actually see Christ in their life, incarnate, and they actually live a life fully devoted to the Holy Spirit. And it's concretized. It's all concretized in their very being. That's why I'm a Christian. And it's my challenge as a youth leader to be able to answer their questions, but also to be the saint that they need to see as a leader, as either a father or a brother that they don't have at home, to show them what a true Christian leader, a true Christian person needs to be. And that's the real challenge. And that's what we as youth leaders really need to take seriously.
What message do you have for small churches trying to build a youth program, practically speaking?
The people that are building programs are the adults, right? The leaders, the council, and the priests. And what needs to happen is to bridge the gap between the youth and between that council, because they're so estranged from each other that the youth won't want to grow, won't want to be a part of this program, won't even think that this parish is theirs unless they have some sort of connection with the council, with the elderly people. They won't identify with this parish unless that this thing that is being built for them has some sort of concrete relationship between those two, I think, often estranged people groups. So that's the advice that I would have is so there's many ways to connect it in very practical ways, of course. Even like yesterday, we had a banquet, and all the people, who are all the people eating, right? Who can afford to eat? Is of course these adults that are well established and pillars of our church, and who are serving but our youth. And so I was one of the kind of the leader waiters, and you have 13 and 15-year-olds off serving, and I think that's a great way to connects those two groups. But I also think that there are many other ways that we need to have those two groups more talk to each other more, have some sort of relationship established. I don't know I don't have all the answers to that, but as far as the youth startup and what advice I'd give to a young parish who's starting up their youth group is, I would have the gatherings at the home of the parish, the parish priest's home or the youth director's home, and have it very personal and have it very open and have conversations with these people, because a lot of what youth need is to be heard and to be understood. They don't always need to be talked at. They don't always need to be even answered, but sometimes it's good to just listen to them and establish those kinds of relationships. And food is always helpful. They love food.
Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you gained something out of that. Go back into your parishes and get involved into the youth group, whether it's teaching or just helping out. It's very important for us to be involved in those youth groups. So, as always, run the race with endurance, and I'll see you in the next one.
Your favorite thing about St. Andrew? The church.
St. Andrew Church in Riverside, California?
Yes.
That is a good question. That is a good question. I think about it a lot. Every time I come into this parking lot, or even when I'm passing it by on the street, it's just home.